up, Plant Junkies? Jody here for another plant video from plantjunkiecreations.com. Today I'm going to be going over the basic plant care of this beautiful long leaf Anthurium known as the Anthurium Vittarifolium. I have 3 of them, one of which is for sale at my shop at plantjunkiecreations.com, so if you're interested, go check it out. This is one of my favorite plants because you rarely see a jungle-like exotic plant with long, narrow leaves. It's just one of those must-have to add to your collection. If I were to rate this plant in plant care, I would rate it in the mid-range. I wouldn't consider this plant an easy plant, but I also wouldn't consider it a hard plant. The tricky part about it is just figuring out that water schedule for the type of medium that you're using. So let's just get into the basics. This plant right here is an adult plant, hence why it has very long leaves. And the larger this plant gets, the more expensive it's going to be. Typically, when this plant is growing, you will see a new leaf emerge and then a flower and then a new leaf, flower, new leaf. The light requirement for this plant will tolerate medium to bright indirect light, but thrives best in that bright, medium, indirect light. The water requirement for this plant, like I always say, just depends on what type of pot you're using and what size. Another key factor to the watering schedule is what type of medium are you using. So the more dense soil that you are using, the less watering you're going to have to water. This Anthurium does enjoy being moist, and during the summer when the water is evaporating because it's warmer, you'll want to water this plant on a 3 to 5 day cycle. During the winter, I would cut back and water on a 7 to 10 day cycle. The soil requirement for this plant may vary from what location you live in. For example, I've gotten all 3 of these plants out of Florida, so it's warmer there. So they're able to use a more dense mix. So I'm going to show you what they have put in here, and that is a peat moss base soil with added perlite and some fertilizer in there. But living in the Pacific Northwest, it is more humid here and not as warm, so that soil stays moist for so long. So the tip for that would be to water less and to have airflow so the roots aren't staying moist for too long. But what I've gone ahead and done with my with the larger plant here is I've developed a chunkier mix of a wood epiphytic base mix, so it drains well. What I have here is coconut husk, those wood chips right there, cocoa core, which is similar to peat moss, but it just doesn't stay moist as long, and then perlite, charcoal, tree fern, and I also like to add worm casting and blood meal because these wood-based ingredients don't hold a lot of nutrients. The fertilizer requirement for this plant, you'll typically want to fertilize 2 times a month during the growing season. And what I like to use, I rotate between, and the first one being Gringo Rasta Rise Up. This product is very expensive, but it's a product worth spending money on. And the reason I say that is because it contains microbials, which are beneficial bacteria that help your plant absorb other nutrients. So similar to us humans, where we need to take a certain vitamin to help absorb other vitamins. The second one is hydrolyzed fish seaweed fertilizer. This is an all-around just great fertilizer. If you think back in our ancient times, they would have taken fish carcasses and dug a hole and placed that fish in there, cover it with soil, pop their corn in there, and it would flourish. So fish and seaweed, hold a lot of nutrients for your plants. I also forgot to mention that this plant does enjoy humidity. So if you have like a humidity gauge, you'll want to like ideally have your humidity at 60 plus. The more humidity you provide this plant, the more luscious leaves you will get, or otherwise you'll start seeing kind of like wrinkled development in the leaves like this. But I think it does just fine with 60. 60 is like a safe humidity range for your home. If not, if you want to add more humidity, you can purchase a humidifier to help with that. If you guys enjoyed this video, remember to click on that like button. Also, if you're interested in plant care content, click on that icon to subscribe to my channel.